Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU has slammed the federal government over the payment of half salaries to lecturers in October. In a statement yesterday by ASUU President Emmanuel Oshodake, the union condemned the pro-rata payment to its members. Oshodake, who stated this after a National Executive Council meeting held on Tuesday, said his members are not casual workers, but intellectuals who cannot be paid on a pro-rata basis. According to him, paying academics on a pro-rata basis, like casual workers, is unprecedented in the history of university-oriented labor relations. The federal government over the weekend had defended the pro-rata payment to ASUU members in October, saying they cannot be paid for work not done. While Oshodake was silent on whether ASUU would embark on another strike, he appealed for the understanding of Nigerian students, parents, and other genuinely concerned individuals and groups in the country. ASUU had on October 14, 2022 called off its 8-month-long strike after the National Industrial Court ordered the lecturers to resume. The federal government has declared that over 12,000 inmates were released from various correctional centers across the country within the last 6 years, in line with the policy of prison decongestion. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, speaking to members of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters during the 2023 Budget Defense Session, said the federal government was able to decongest the overcongested prisons across the country through policy actions aside the Administration of Criminal Justice Act.
At one single prison visit in Kano State, the governor of Kano State succeeded in releasing over 500 people at a time, prisoners, inmates at a time. And then Mr. President took further steps to put in place a committee, decongestion of prison committee, that went around all over the Federation, and indeed those that are found befitting for consideration were indeed granted certain respite. But one thing that I omitted to mention was the non-custodial sentence that was equally introduced in the law enacted by the National Assembly, which has equally assisted drastically in now providing alternative sentences other than the prison.
Correspondent Raliat Adinekon reports that the Justice Minister also called for adequate funding of the ministry and its agencies to help achieve its mandate.
Evidence reveals that the administration of justice, which guarantees sustainable peace, equity, and fair play, is undeniably capital intensive. In the circumstances, we need to reconceptualize the existing funding pattern of the justice sector to support critical reforms in the sector. I wish to state that the ministry and practically all the parastatals under its purview are in dire need of funding. Consequently, I wish to solicit for your support for sufficient funding to support ongoing reform initiatives in the justice sector, which has spiral effects on national development.
Earlier in his remarks, the chairman of the committee, Senator Payemi Bamidele, noted that the 2023 budget estimates for the Federal Ministry of Justice and its agencies is 71.291 billion naira. He specifically commended the president for increasing the budgetary provisions of the Council of Legal Education from 2.7 billion naira it was in the 2022 fiscal year to 10.12 billion naira proposed for the 2023 fiscal year.
That the 2023 budget estimates for the Federal Ministry of Justice and its parastatals agencies, as contained in the appropriation bill before the National Assembly, is 71,291,012,971 naira only. Kindly note that this total sum is inclusive of the allocations to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, which is not an agency under the jurisdiction, the oversight jurisdiction of this committee. Also, the statutory transfer to the National Human Rights Commission, which is an independent statutory body and not one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Justice, is included in the sum.
A Lagos-based lawyer, Festus Ogun, has asked the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, Abdulrasheed Bawa, to obey the court order which committed him to prison. Ogun had noted that no one was above the law, especially public officers who swore oaths of allegiance to defend and uphold the Constitution. The EFCC chairman was convicted by a federal high court in Abuja over contempt of court and was subsequently sentenced to the Kuje Correctional Center in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Justice Chizoba Oji had held that Bawa neglected a court order made on November 21, 2018, directing the commission to return to an applicant his Range Rover SUV and the sum of 40 million naira. The judge had also ordered that he be committed to prison at the Kuje Correctional Center for his disobedience. The EFCC, through its spokesman, Wilson Owojaren, has since said it would appeal the ruling. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, has uncovered plans by some drug cartels to smuggle a lethal synthetic opioid, fentanyl, into the Nigerian market. The agency, in a statement issued yesterday by its spokesperson Femi Babafemi, said that the illicit drug was 100 times stronger than tramadol and has the potency to kill many youths targeted by the cartels. Babafemi said the drug was responsible for more than 40% of overdose deaths in the United States and a major contributor to fatal and non-fatal overdoses. He, however, assured that steps would be taken to ensure that the lethal drug does not circulate in Nigeria. No fewer than 932 members of the National Youth Service Corps of 2022 Batch C Stream 1, comprising 493 males and 439 females, have been urged to uphold national unity in their service. Our correspondent reports that the batch was on Tuesday sworn in through the oath of allegiance administered by Judge of the Gombe State High Court Justice Abdulsalam Mohammed, same as other camps across the country. According to the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Mohammed Fadah, Corps members should embrace the ideals of the Corps, stressing that they are expected to promote unity and integration. Meanwhile, the NYSC has kicked out some prospective Corps members, PCMs, from its various orientation camps nationwide. Our correspondent in Lagos reports that the various PCMs involved are graduates of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and the University of Ibadan. A PCM who spoke on the condition of anonymity lamented that officials of the NYSC detected that the two institutions did not complete the date of graduation entered on the statement of results handed to their graduates. Meanwhile, the NYSC had earlier instructed all institutions to write the complete date of graduation on the statement of results which they issue to their graduates. Considering the security threats facing the country at the moment, our correspondent reached out to the stakeholders involved for their reactions and solution to the situation, without students traveling back to their various institutions. However, none had responded to calls and messages. 4 persons have been feared dead following an explosion at the chemical market in Onitsha local government area of Anambra State on Tuesday. 12 persons were also said to have sustained various degrees of injury, with goods and properties worth millions of naira destroyed during the inferno. It was gathered that after the explosion occurred at about 12:45 p.m., it was followed by a stampede as traders fled to safety. As at the time of filing this report, the police PRO in the state, DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, said the casualty figure was yet to be ascertained, adding that there were reports that more people have been killed, but he had not been properly briefed on the incident. The cause of the fire incident is, however, still not ascertained as at the time of filing this report. The Lagos State government says it will henceforth begin the clampdown on all unregistered vehicles plying Lagos roads in line with Section 16 and 196 of the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform Law 2018 in order to further stimulate the safety and protection of lives and property in the state. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Transportation, Engineer Abdulafiz Toriola, made this known at Alausa Ikeja, saying the move becomes necessary in a bid to checkmate the activities of some criminal elements who had devised various operational strategies, including the use of unregistered vehicles to attack unsuspecting members of the public, thereby making it difficult for law enforcement agencies to track or trace such incidents. You're still listening to the World News. Moving on to the foreign scene. Uganda will close all schools in 2 weeks' time following the deaths of 8 pupils from the Ebola virus. The First Lady, Janet Museveni, who is also the Education Minister, said there had been 23 confirmed cases among school children. A lockdown has been extended in the central districts of Mubende and Kasanda, the center of the outbreak. The World Health Organization, WHO, says there have been more than 150 confirmed and probable cases since September, with 64 deaths. It is the Sudan strain of the virus that is currently affecting Uganda, against which there is no vaccine. Republicans are on course to take control of the House of Representatives as a result of the crucial U.S. midterm elections coming. But the battle for control of the Senate is on a knife edge, with the key states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada yet to be called. Democrat Maggie Hassan has fended off a tough challenge for her Senate seat in New Hampshire, while Republican J.D. Vance has won in Ohio. But the Senate race in Georgia between Democrat Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker is still a toss-up. In other high-profile contests for governor's seats, Florida Republican DeSantis and Pennsylvania Democrat Shapiro have been projected to win, while Republican Brian Kemp has defeated Democrat Stacey Abrams in the hotly contested governor race in Georgia. Moving on to business news this morning, Diamond Star Port and Terminals Limited has commenced operations at its export processing terminal in Lily Pond, Ijara Apapa. The terminal was commissioned yesterday by the Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, Mr. Mohammed Bello Koko. Diamond Star Port and Terminals is appointed and licensed by the NPA as the export processing terminal operator of the Lily Pond Export Terminal, Apapa. This appointment makes the company the central pre-gate for processing all export containers ingressing Lagos ports through roads and railway. While commissioning the terminal, Mr. Bello Koko, who commended the management of the company, also alluded the appointment to the company's competence, capacity and work ethic. Managing Director of Diamond Star Port, Mr. Olatunji Bale, had affirmed that the appointment will add immense value to the operations of the company and to the Nigerian economy, while the Director of Strategy and Business Development, Oyeyemi Ayeyemi, called on Nigerians to start thinking of engaging in export business to increase their earnings and enhance Nigeria's foreign exchange capacity. And finally, to sport news, Nigerian club Plateau United have arrived Benghazi, Libya, ahead of the CAF Confederation Cup playoff round second leg tie against Al-Qaeda. Plateau United defeated Al-Qaeda 4-1 last week Wednesday at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abuja in the first leg of the competition. A win or a draw of any magnitude will be good enough to see Plateau United through to the group stage of a CAF inter-club competition for the first time in their history. Sepp Blatter has admitted the decision to award the World Cup to Qatar when he was FIFA president was a mistake. The build-up to this year's World Cup has been dogged by concerns about the suffering of low-paid migrant workers to build the infrastructure in the tiny Gulf nation and discriminatory laws that criminalize same-sex relations. Blatter was the boss of FIFA in 2010 when its executive committee controversially voted for the World Cup to be held in Russia and Qatar in 2018 and 2022 respectively. Blatter claims he did not vote for Qatar and instead wanted a gesture of peace by hosting the two tournaments in Russia and then the USA.
Lagos Talks
91.3